text said the house was at the end of a cul-de-sac, and it really was the last porch light on the block. I parked under a street lamp that buzzed faintly and watched the windows until my nerves settled. Inside, the couple spoke in whispers, like the baby could hear words. They handed me a bottle schedule and showed me the nursery, then left with quick smiles that didn't reach their eyes. I set the baby monitor on the kitchen counter while the dishwasher hummed. When I glanced down, the screen showed 2 cribs in the nursery. I walked back to the doorway and counted. 1 crib, 1 changing table, 1 rocking chair. The monitor kept showing a 2nd crib tucked into the corner where bare wall should be. Then the audio hissed, and a wet little breath came through, like someone exhaled right on the mic. I told myself it was a glitch and carried the monitor closer, like distance mattered. On the screen, the extra crib shifted a few inches, scraping silently across carpet that wasn't moving in real life. The baby in the real crib kicked once, and the monitor's picture jolted as if something bumped it. I checked every closet and even the shower, feeling ridiculous and sweaty. When I returned, the monitor was face down on the counter, though I'd left it upright. From the hallway, the nursery door clicked softly, like a latch settling. I pushed the door open, and my stomach dropped. In the corner, where there had been empty wall, there was now a narrow shape, too tall to be furniture, too still to be a person pretending. It leaned forward into the nightlight glow, and I saw a face the color of old paper, pressed around a smile that didn't open. It moved without stepping, sliding toward me with its head tilted like it was listening. I backed up, and it mirrored me, keeping the same distance, as if it wanted me to lead it somewhere. When the baby started to cry, the thing snapped its gaze to the crib and drifted faster. I lunged for the crib, scooped the baby into my arms, and ran for the kitchen. Behind me, the nursery door slammed hard enough to rattle the frame. The monitor on the counter flickered, and a pale handprint appeared on its screen from the inside. Fingers splayed. I got to my car with the baby bundled in my hoodie, hands shaking so badly I fumbled the buckle twice. In the rearview mirror, the nursery curtain twitched once, then slowly parted as if someone was peeking out. The baby stopped crying, stared past my shoulder, and smiled at something I couldn't see. I babysat for a single dad on the 10th floor of a building that always smelled like warm paint and old mail. His daughter, Priya, showed me her puzzles and made me promise not to turn off the hallway light. When he left, the apartment felt too quiet for how many people lived stacked around us. I did the bedtime routine, checked the lock twice, and set my phone beside the couch. The building settled with distant pipes and elevator thumps. Around 9, someone knocked, gentle and confident, like they already knew me. Through the peephole I saw a man holding a canvas tote and a polite smile that didn't blink. He leaned close and said, "I'm from next door. I'm here for the spare," like it was normal. When I didn't answer, he slid a key into our lock and started turning it. I yanked the chain into place just as the door cracked open an inch. The chain went taut, metal squealing, and his eye appeared in the gap, wide and bright. He whispered my name, my actual name, like we were friends. I slammed the door shut, heart hammering, and dragged a chair against it. Priya called from her room, asking why someone was scratching the front. The knob began to jiggle in quick little tests, patient and practiced, and then it stopped completely. I crept to the kitchen and grabbed the heaviest thing I could lift, breathing shallow. In the dark reflection of the microwave, I saw movement behind me that wasn't mine. The man stood in the living room doorway as if he'd always been there, tote hanging from his hand, smiling that same unblinking smile. I froze, and he took one slow step, letting the tote bump the wall like a warning. He lifted a finger to his lips, then pointed down the hall toward Priya's room. I backed away, and he matched me, closing the space with soft, barefooted silence. I grabbed Priya out of bed, clapped a hand over her mouth before she could scream, and bolted for the balcony door. The glass stuck for half a second, and I felt him rush up behind us, hot breath at my ear, fingers brushing my sleeve. I yanked it open and shoved us onto the balcony, slamming it shut as his palm hit the glass from the inside. I screamed for help until a neighbor across the gap turned on a light and shouted back, and the man finally drifted away from the door. Police arrived, and the front lock showed no damage, like it had been opened properly. When Priya's dad came home, he found a folded note inside the tote the man left behind. Our apartment number written neatly, and underneath it, my name. The farmhouse sat alone beyond wet fields, with only a gravel drive and a mailbox that leaned like it was tired. I was there because the couple needed help during the storm, and they promised they'd be back before midnight. Their son, Bo, was already in pajamas, watching lightning flare behind lace curtains. Wind shoved rain against the windows, and the power flickered just enough to make the house feel jumpy. I kept Bo in the living room and tried to act calm while the roof creaked. Near 10, something thudded under the front porch, like a shoulder hitting wood. I listened, holding my breath, and it happened again. 3 slow knocks from beneath my feet. Bo looked up and asked if Grandpa was home, and my stomach tightened. The crawlspace access by the mudroom door trembled, as if someone had leaned on it from below. I grabbed Bo's hand and moved him away from the entryway. The knocks turned into dragging, a long scrape that traveled along the underside of the porch toward the corner. Then, from inside the wall beside the coat hooks, came a soft, steady breathing, like someone trying not to be heard. I backed into the kitchen, searching for my phone, and realized the screen was black. No signal, no bars, nothing. The storm shoved the house again, and dust sifted from a ceiling seam. In that same moment, a thin line of dirt trickled from the baseboard, as if something was pushing through behind it. The living room lamp popped and died, leaving only lightning flashes to carve shapes. In one flash, I saw a face staring at us through the hallway vent, eyes wide, mouth stretched too far, cheek pressed against metal slats. The next flash showed the vent screws turning, one by one, from the inside. The vent cover snapped free and clattered to the floor, and a hand slid out, muddy, trembling, fingers flexing like it was tasting the air. Bo tried to run, and I scooped him up, spinning away as the arm lunged for my ankle. Behind us, something moved inside the wall with quick, purposeful shoves, tracking our footsteps. I sprinted to the back door, nearly slipping on a rug that had bunched up, and slammed my shoulder into the frame until it burst open. The wind hit like a shove, cold and loud, and I ran Bo to the pickup parked by the barn. In the truck's dim interior light, I saw muddy fingerprints appear on the outside of the window, one after another, as if someone was walking their hand along the glass. Headlights finally swept the drive when the parents returned, and I laid on the horn until they ran to us. The house looked unchanged from the outside, calm in the rain, but the porch steps were smeared with fresh mud leading nowhere. As they carried Bo inside, the underside of the porch gave one last, slow knock, and something breathed out like a satisfied sigh.